How's it going, my fellow gamers, goblins, ghouls, and goons? This is a bit of a different video I'm doing here. It's gonna be more of a talk, a bit more of a conversation. So I think in the background I'll just have some nice YOMI Hustle gameplay going on. That's right, I'm showing that the secrets to how I do these things. That's right, the round length is really long. I know, that's the secret. That is the secret. I do actually just play this game for fun sometimes because there's some really neat things in here that I like to just stick around with sometimes. I did see there was like some kind of mod contest or something where they put some new guys like a Wendigo in there. Oh yeah, there he is, the Wendigo. I did download this one. Look at all my styles. I got a bunch of styles. I know, I use them. It's like a Wendigo and a Mothman. Yeah, I think I'll just stick around with those guys while I'm talking. So, a couple things I want to just dive into right now is the future. So far, I've basically got 100 videos. I know it says 103 or like 104 or something, but it's really only 100. I mean, you can count through all of them. I think it's gonna be 101 at this point because of the Risk of Rain 2 one. But yeah. So I just want to see where I want to go with this whole thing. Now I know what I want to do is that I have ideas for bigger and better videos, but I'm sort of stopped by my own lack of resources at this current moment. Like I'm using this shitty mic, and you can even go back and see different videos where I had a good one. It's because I'm not home. If I'm home, I have a better mic, but I'm on a college campus right now, so I don't really have a mic that I can use, and I just don't have that kind of capabilities to me. But I try. I still try because I like doing this. This is what I like doing. I've always wanted to make videos ever since I was a child, really. Ever since I was, God, it's been a long time. I've always been a YouTube frog. Always been on YouTube. Anytime I'd sneak it. Oh God. Okay, the house stays, I guess. But this is just stuff that I do. It's a lot I really like doing. This is you could even say it might even be a passion. I know, it's a crazy thing to say. I'm definitely being a bit more frank here with this one. Yeah, when I do these, the secret is to make it look kinda cool. The goal is to make it look like I made something neat. That's right, they're all fake. Literally every single one is fake. You might not even notice. These are interesting looking characters though, so I think I'll mess around with them a little bit. But yeah, YouTube's just something I've always wanted to do, and I think I'm at the point where I'm actually being able to, it really feels like I'm starting to be able to do it. People are actually watching the stuff I'm making, which is cool. That's just such a fascinating thing to me, that there's actually people out there who are interested in what I'm doing. Even if it's just a little bit interested. I mean, that's so cool to me. That is a really, magical thing, almost. It feels like I would have never been able to do this, but it's starting to feel more and more every day like it's something I might be able to actually have a chance at doing. I'll let that hit. That looks cool. Shriek. Nice. You might not even know it. I'm actually currently playing while talking. It's crazy. I know. I was just thinking, what kind of thing can I have in the background? Like a damn Leafy's here video over here. But I don't know how to do CSGO surfing, and so that one's not gonna happen. Editing is not something I can totally do while I'm at college, because it's hard, especially with such a hodgepodge setup I've got going on here. It just doesn't feel comfortable a lot of the time. I do the most basic of stuff anyways, because I'm just not totally what does that do? Winnebago? What the fuck is this? Lizard? This sounds goofy. But yeah, I've never been comfortable on that because I just don't know how to do it. And the goal would be finding someone who knows how. I'd love to find someone. If anyone is interested, I can't pay. I can't offer consistency, but I can say that I'm begging. So yeah, that's where I'm at basically with that idea. So yeah, but no, yeah, I just wanted to talk about where I'm going with this idea here. What makes it different? The fuck does this do? I'm not totally sure what the hell that move is supposed to do, but whatever. Did we just get? Oh, I must be tripping. But yeah, you know, I definitely want to do better content. I have ideas. Like I'm actually writing a script. I know that's a crazy concept. He's definitely getting larger. He's 100% getting larger. This is really confusing. But you know, I'm actually writing like a script for a video about Gurren Lagann actually. He's doing a JoJo pose, okay. Yeah, and that one is in the works, but it's gonna take me some time to get it done because I don't really know. I don't want to write it with, or not write it. I don't want to record it with the shit mic I'm using. I want to use something good, but I gotta be home for that. And you know, it's hard to write this script without knowing a full idea of where I want to go with it. I've got a good idea because you know Gurren Lagann's it's a huge thing for me at least, and I want to do the video justice. But it's gonna be hard because I don't know what I can really talk about that hasn't already just been said 1,000 times. Because the Gurren Lagann has so many things about it already that people, you know, there's so many videos. I mean, I've seen them about it, so I don't know where I can really go that hasn't been completely overdone already. Psychosis, interesting. But I do want to do something, and I've already, you know, again, I've written part of a script for it, and I like what I've done with it. I think it's a good starting point. You know, I want to talk about just the whole media landscape as of right now and how everything is completely. It's really bad, and I think everyone knows that it's really bad. You know, everything that's coming out is like a sequel of a recreation of a like live action remake of whatever favorite thing of yours is. That's just a complete bastardization of everything that initially stood for, at least. You know, like why are they coming out with a live action every like Disney, for example? They're just coming out with every single animated movie, every single popular one at least, is now becoming a live action recreation that is going to be dog shit. And everyone knows that at this point. They haven't made a good one. Like no one can point to a good. Well, okay, the Beauty and the Beast one with who was that? Emma Stone wasn't that bad. I guess it wasn't. It wasn't horrible. But like, they're just not great. Everything coming out these days feels just like a horrible bastardization of the original concept or idea. And it's sad to see like everyone's favorite thing becoming just horrible. And what does that have to do with anime? You might be thinking, but I mean, they're doing the same general idea with a lot of older anime as well, though. Now, I'm not going to say that every recreation of an older anime is really bad, but I'm just seeing that it's not just in the West. It's also in Japan. You know, they're making the what is it? The Urusei Yatsura, that one anime, the older one. I think it was just the Alien Girl one or something. Yeah, Urusei Yatsura. Yeah, that's the name. That's the name. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was it's an old anime, and they're remaking it, which I'm like, okay, sure. If there's like a precedent for it, if there's a need, if there's a desire in the marketplace, do it, absolutely. But then they're also making like a Ranma 1/2 remake, and I'm like, well, how far does this go? But you also got to talk about how Netflix is coming out with every single not every single. There's so many anime that Netflix is coming out with as a live action remake, and it's kind of sad to understand that like they're not making new products. They're just coming out with the same things and repackaging it in a new live action to make you just to prey on your desire for like the time that you watched it and not the actual product, which is it's kind of troubling to see. Live action Cowboy Bebop. I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was actually okay. I kind of enjoyed how they worked with some of the ideas and some of like I know people were really mad about the recasting they made, like um uh they made Jet like black, and it's like, okay, sure, I don't really care as long as he's still the same character, and which he generally wasn't really. I just think that it was fun. They had their own ideas with it, and I'm not gonna complain about that one that much. But like, they have made some. Uh oh. Uh oh. It crashed. Oh no, that's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible. But you know what? This wasn't about the gameplay. This wasn't about the gameplay. It's about the conversation. I'm gonna pull it right back up. I know it's black right now. I'll probably put something in there. I'll put a little blue screen of death on there to spook you. But yeah, the Cowboy Bebop live action was not great, but I do think it was okay. I don't think the recasting was that big a deal. Sure, you can make it black. I don't care. It doesn't change much of the character there. I still think he was an interesting character. I still think that it was. I liked him. It was a reimagining, basically. The ending was horrible. Maybe I'm rethinking that. Maybe the live action Cowboy Bebop was not good. Okay, so the live action Cowboy Bebop wasn't good. Now that I think about it, with the Fearless thing and yeah, you know what? Okay, maybe that was a bad example of a good one. The One Piece live action is very good. I really did enjoy the One Piece live action. I think they did a phenomenal job with that. It's very true to form. The guy that they chose was literally like he's the real life. He's real life Luffy. That's just Luffy. You can't really deny that that guy is literally just Luffy. I mean, come on. He's literally Luffy. He embodies the character so perfectly well. We'll just throw something in random. I don't really care here. He's a great actor. I really like that. I really did like that show. I took a while to watch it. I was thinking because I was worried because I really like One Piece as a property. I read the manga most of the way through. I read up to Wano. I read all of Wano, and then I slowed down. I'm waiting a while for more to come out so I can read a lot of it because I have the problem with speak of the devil. I have a problem with One Piece with it. It's so long, it's so expansive that it's hard to get through it all. And when you finally do make it through it all, like it's all there in your mind, but then you're stuck with the problem of now I have to wait for each. I have to wait for each new chapter to come out. It's hard to remember, Like getting through Wano, I'm reading it as it's coming out there, and it was hard. It was challenging to try to remember like every single character that's being introduced, every single new character. It really was hard. I'll do Yuta, sure. So it's hard to get through that as a concept, I guess. Like conceptually, it's hard to deal with having to deal with the weight of all the previous characters that were already introduced. So that was hard. It's hard for me to do with that with reading. Now I haven't watched it, and I understand that it's the pacing isn't great with watching it, and I don't know if I want to watch it. I think I'm happy with just reading it as is. I think that reading it is a perfectly acceptable way to go through One Piece as a concept. Like I can understand the ideas that people talk about in the anime because I've read it. I get it. I do understand. Sure, I know I'm missing out on maybe the good music because I know it has some damn good music. There's some that I have in a playlist. Love some of those songs. I really do. But I think some of the ideas that were done in the anime, the live action were good. I think it was good. I think they did a really good job. I think the idea of getting Oda in there as a correspondent, or not even a correspondent, getting him in there as like a creative head was a really, really good idea on their part. Or maybe on Oda's part. I'm not totally sure. I'm not gonna act like I'm the utmost authority on One Piece live action. I really don't know that much about it, let's be real. But yeah, I think it was good. But I think there's a lot of things that are just going with the whole idea of just repackaging old media as a new thing is kind of disgusting in a way. It's just a little. It just doesn't feel good to watch the same thing you've seen. This character sucks. It doesn't. It's not a good feeling to see the same exact thing that you've already seen put into a new medium that just doesn't. It's just they're just re. They're cashing in on your own previous judgment of a thing. You know, like you could think that Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime. Let's say you're a really big fan of the anime of Yu Yu Hakusho. You read the manga. They come out with live action, and like it's good, but they're not doing anything new with it. They're just putting the same thing out there again. It's like the idea of like there's the dead internet theory is where like former links to websites will be on like a let's say there's like a link to a website in an article, okay, and then it links to a website and that website's gone, or maybe an article links to another article which links to another article which links to another article, and like it's the idea of everything's feeding upon itself. It's like an Ouroboros. Everyone knows what the Ouroboros is. That's a good example. But I think there's also there's a new theory that I think of at least now where AI art is going to be feeding off of its own AI art. So you go on Google now and you look up any sort of like basic picture, something that's not like an already established trademark. Look up a man holding umbrella, and that's gonna be AI images. The first things you're gonna see is an AI image, and I think it's scary to see that. It really is scary to see that, and that kind of thing is kind of. I'm starting to think that sort of thing is happening with media these days, where you're not getting new media, you're just getting a remake of a remake, or you're getting something that's inspired from a remake. And I think it's kind of disgusting to see that things that people like are just being repackaged, and no new ideas are actually being put into the marketplace of media. And at least that's with basic like mass media is what I'm talking about. But popular media, mass media is what's big. That's what's important. That's what really changes the times. That's what's going to be the thing that is making the money. Let's be real. Sure, Frieren was really good, and I'm sure it made a good amount of money, but like that's not popular media. Frieren is just a random example I'm coming up with, don't worry. But that's not like popular media. Sure, it's the biggest thing on my anime list. But like my anime list is not what's paying the bills. My anime list is what's going to be like deciding what the next big piece of media is. I think the last good piece of media was Jujutsu Kaisen. That was the last one that I think came out. Kaiju number 8 was I couldn't even get past the first episode. It was so unimaginably boring. That's not going to be the next media. I'm sorry, Dandadan fans, it's just not making it. I'm sorry. It's not that it's bad, it's that it's got Marvel like levels of joke writing. And we all know what's going on with Marvel. They're coming out with 15 things that are just recreations of a Marvel comic. It's dying. Mass media is in a pitfall. Is in an absolute pitfall these days. Like things that are coming out are just another just shitty recreation of whatever the first thing was. In the coming years, we're gonna get more live action recreations, we're gonna get more remakes of things, and it's gonna be a bastardization of what you initially liked. And I'm sorry, that's just how it's gonna be. Because that they make money, because people go, oh, I know this thing, and they're gonna just do it. That's why there's a Black Ops 6. There's 6 of those. Did you know they made 6 Call of Duty Black Ops games? What the fuck? Why? What are you talking about? Make a new damn game. I mean, sure. You know what? I know what happened though when they made a new game. What was that? Infinite Warfare? I'm not gonna say I really know much about that. I'm not exactly a Black Ops fan or anything, or a Call of Duty fan. Sorry, but I mean, come on. Infinite Warfare, that one died out immediately. Ghosts apparently wasn't very good. I don't really play Call of Duty. So I'm not gonna be talking too much on that idea, but like the fact that they're making remakes of the original Modern Warfare games, that they came out with already a Modern Warfare remake and a Modern Warfare 2 remake, is like, why are people not finding that to be just disgusting? What are they doing? How is this being? How are people buying this? They're eating this shit up. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare doesn't look like a bad game. The first one does not look bad. I played that one. I can speak on that. I can speak on Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. They don't look that bad. They play fine. But it's just this bastardization of content. Everything is just new content that needs to come out. And if they're not coming out with new content every year, then they're not making money. And it's the same idea, you know, new companies aren't going to be... The video game market is dying. Let's be real. Let's all be real with ourselves. The video game market is completely dying at this point. I mean, God, there's so many video games that I can talk about that have just died on release. Just dead in the water, completely dead on release. And it's because they're just the same concept done again and again, but just done by a different studio. They're just looking at, hey, this thing made money, let's do it. Let's look at, hey, Sea of Thieves, that game made some money. Let's talk about Sea of Thieves. Sure, yeah. Sea of Thieves made money. Ubisoft said, hey, let's come out with the first quadruple A game ever. Whatever that one was, fucking the Sea something. Oh my God, the Ubisoft Sea of Thieves ripoff. What in the hell was that one called? Skull and Bones. That one was called Skull and Bones. That game dead on release because it wasn't good. I mean, there was other issues with that one. I'm pretty sure they were forced by a government to finish that one because they got funding and they wanted to scrap it, but they literally could not scrap it because that government. I don't know which government. I know there was a government that had a hand in it for some fucking reason. I don't know. That's a Ubisoft thing, though. Let's be real. That's just Ubisoft being Ubisoft, putting out garbage again and again and again and over and over and over. But there's all these forever games as well, which I think is a big issue. And this isn't stuff that's gonna be totally in that video I'm making. This is just stuff off the dome, off the top of the dome. But I mean, you look at Ubisoft coming out with these forever games. You know, you got your Rainbow Six Siege. That game's not going anywhere. They're not making a Rainbow 7 Siege. I know it probably has something to do with the amount of players on the team or something, but again, besides, well, actually, I don't know. I don't even play Siege anymore. It's been years. But you know, they're not coming out with a new one. They don't need to. They tried to come out with that Rainbow Six Siege Extraction or whatever, the zombie whatever the fuck one, and that I don't even know if they did that one. I don't even know about that one. I haven't heard a single thing about it. But it's just they're coming out with these. The game companies are not coming out with new games, and when they do come out with new games, they just fall to the old ones because the old ones are still being supported because graphics aren't getting better. Graphics have reached basically a plateau at this point, and it's more about the stylization of games. You know, Overwatch 2 isn't gonna go anywhere anytime soon. I know it's a scary thing. Then it's not going anywhere, but like, it's not going anywhere. That game is gonna stay for a long fucking time, and it's there to stay. So any new hero shooter that comes out has to contend with the Overwatch fan base. You need to deal with Overwatch. You can't. You're not just fighting against the whole thing. You're fighting against specifically Overwatch, and Overwatch has such a huge hero shooter market share. They can make horrible decisions and not change anything, and come out with Overwatch 2 and not change a single thing, and they're still getting millions of dollars from microtransactions, from battle passes, from all of that shit. They're still making millions of dollars. So any new hero shooter, that new Marvel Rivals that's coming out, it's not getting anywhere. Anyone who thinks, oh, maybe Marvel Rivals would be the Overwatch 2 killer, there's been so many people talking about a killer of a game for as long as I can remember. There's always the Smash killer that's coming out. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, you don't understand. Nickelodeon All Stars, it's the Smash killer, dude. I got Nickelodeon All Stars. That shit sucked, man. It wasn't good. It was not good. But, you know, I mean, okay, I guess that's not a good example then. Fine. multiverses. I kind of liked multiverses as a game. I played it in the beta. I really enjoyed multiverses. I thought it was really fun to play. Had cool characters, had cool ideas, but the thing is that it's just not going to do well. They're trying to make a forever game out of Smash, and that doesn't work because people want new mechanics and characters, and they want new things with Smash Brothers titles and things like that. The fighting games need to come out on the regular. Otherwise, it just doesn't really work. Like, you know, your Street Fighter 5, I know that game did really well. And then they came out Street Fighter 6, and that's just the new Street Fighter. You know? They have to come out with new ones because people want differences and changes in those kinds of games. Just think this one going on. Because you know people aren't going to be satisfied playing the same game over and over and over. Now, some people are, and that's fine. Those are the esports games, though. The casual player doesn't want to play Street Fighter 5 for the next 20 years. Maybe a Smash Melee player will, but the casual player, no. We're not. You're not going to be hopping on a Street Fighter 5 for the next 10 years. It's going to get boring. It will, because there's no changes. They can add new characters, and that's fine and all, but that doesn't change the existing content. People want differences to existing content. That's why when the next Street Fighter game, Street Fighter 6, comes out, and it's got less characters, and they're coming out with new DLC, people are going to play it. And it's because it's got new art style, new character design, new moves, all that. And that's interesting. That's why, you know, fighting games are in that vein of game. But shooters don't need much change. They need a new map and a new gun. And people will be eating that shit up for years. Or a new toy to play with. That's why Fortnite's still a thing. Fortnite's still a thing because, you know what? What are the differences between these? Fortnite's still a thing because, you know, who cares? Who cares? They come out with a new... They change the map up a little bit. They do an event. They have fucking Ariana Grande, Travis Scott in there, and people go, they eat that up. I'm gonna eat that shit up, dude. That's new content. Even though it's really just like, oh, it's the same gun. Oh, look, we're gonna open up the vault and bring back this gun. We're opening up the vault and bringing back the planes. And it's like, okay, you're not really doing anything new though. Like, what new are you doing? That's not new. That's just repurposing old content. And eventually people might learn, but I think in the current game environment, there's no alternative to a Fortnite, really. I mean, Apex Legends, sorta, but it's a completely different vein of game. And Fortnite is becoming a mass media conglomerate at this point. They absorbed, They absorbed Fall Guys. They've got their own like racing game in there. They've got fucking what is it called? Guitar Hero in there. Like Fortnite is becoming more of a Roblox kind of thing than what it initially was. It's transforming. It's becoming disfigured from its initial concepts and ideas. And I think that's a scary thing to see, is that new games can't really take risks because they have to contest with Fortnite. They have to contest with Overwatch 2. They gotta contest with League of Legends. They gotta contest with these games that are mainstays, that don't go anywhere. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's be real. Like, Fortnite is not going anywhere anytime soon. Even if I'd like it to. Even if I'd like to see something new. But it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's a scary thing to see that games are being condensed into these small clusters where any new game that comes out is just having to contend with 15 other games before it. And that's not okay. I feel like that's a bad media landscape to be in, where, you know, you're just fighting against the old guard that doesn't let anything new in. That's why, I mean, I'm not going to speak on it, of course, because I didn't play it, but that's kind of why Concord failed. Concord failed because it came out and had to immediately contend with Overwatch 2. And you can't contend with Overwatch 2. The hero shooter space is there's too much of a set in stone idea of Overwatch 2, and Valorant is vaguely hero shootery, but it's Overwatch 2. That's what you're fighting against if you come out with a hero shooter. That's why Marvel Rivals will fail, because they're having to take away people from Overwatch 2, and you can't do that, because there are people out there who spend hundreds of dollars on Overwatch 2. They can't just switch over. You can't just do that, you know? It's like, no, 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 no. I bought the All Might Reinhardt skin. I can't go play Marvel Rivals. They won't have my All Might Reinhardt skin. You can't do it. You just can't contest with the old guard that's sitting set in stone. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You can't do it. So when new games come out, it's sad to see that like people just aren't gonna play it. They're not gonna play it unless it's free. Unless it's free. If the game's free, then it'll stick around for a little while longer. But that's because people can go in there and go, well, it is free after all. It is free, so okay. But like, if your game that you're coming out with isn't free and it costs X amount of $1 million to make, you're going into a harsh, harsh landscape. That's why games like Lethal Company or like, well, I can't say Helldivers 2 because that game kind of fell apart pretty quickly, I'd say. But that's why games like Lethal Company worked so well because it's a short, compact game that was cheap to make and it's cheap to get and it's gonna have a long-lasting potential because anyone could just pick it up and start playing. And it's also horror, which is a whole other concept to talk about, but I'm not talking about that. I don't know if I want to play Titan Slayer. It's a little weird. Um, yeah, you're having to contest with these old guard of your Fortnite. They're what's the word I'm looking for? Not conventions. I don't know. It's the old guard of games where you're having to fight against games that came out a decade ago, but are still relevant in the marketplace of ideas. And every game has to fight against these games, and it's a vicious cycle where company comes up with an idea, and let's say Microsoft sees, hey, this company's got an idea here. Maybe they can make it. Maybe they can break through the ceiling. The Fortnite, the Overwatch 2, the Dota 2, the CS2, the everything's a 2. The League of Legends, the fucking Valorant ceiling. Valorant broke through the CS:GO ceiling because it was a mix of two genres, had interesting characters, like interesting character designs, had good ideas, but it was the same basic thing as CS:GO, but they put a little spin on it, and that's why it worked. And it was also free. It was also free, and I've mentioned that already. It was free. Games that come out now that cost money, they're just not doing that well. They're just not going to do that well. That's why Concord died in 2 weeks straight. It took 2 weeks flat for that game to die. But it's also another issue of complacency in writing and development and all that kind of stuff. There's a huge complacency that goes with that as well. I'm gonna do Ishikage here. That seems cool. There's the idea of like you just gotta come out with this game. You gotta just do it eventually. It's cost too much money. You just gotta come out with what you got. And if what you got isn't good enough, you're gonna lose your job. Your studio's gonna get closed. You're gonna lose your job. It's just how it happens a lot of the times. And sometimes the big enough companies are able to push through and actually make something worthwhile. I know that like people are actually have turned around on Cyberpunk 2077, but that's because CD Projekt Red had Witcher 3, which I'm not a fan of, but I can respect it as a title and as a game. I can respect CD Projekt Red as a company, and I can see that Cyberpunk 2077 or Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and that game wasn't good on release. Everyone knows. You've probably seen like 15 different videos about, oh, Cyberpunk 2077 dog shit. Sure, that's fine and all. I understand that. I get it. They fucked up, but it was also the idea of that they needed to just put it out eventually. They just had to put it out. They couldn't wait any longer. And that's what's happened with a lot of companies where they're making this game and the investors are like, hey, we're not making money. What's going on? It's like, well, you got to put the game out, and you put the game out, and it's in a bad place, and they have to just promise and go, hey, we'll make it better. But sometimes what's there isn't enough for people to wait for them to make it better, and that's what's happening with a lot of games where they put out these incomplete titles, and they go, well, we'll fix it. I don't want a fixed game. I want a complete game. I want to spend $60 to buy a game that's done. That's why Elden Ring did fantastically well because they had the strength, the full power of the Dark Souls titles and Demon Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro behind them from FromSoft. They had FromSoft behind them being able to push that game up. They've been working on Elden Ring for, I'm sure, years at this point. They had been working on it for years. and they would put out a full, complete game. But when when EA comes over here and goes, hey, we've got a game here, we got Anthem. That game dies in like a month or whatever. I don't even know. That game, commercial failure. I'm sure of that one. But I mean, that had its own issues with like servers and shit. But like, these games come out and they're having to contest with the previous games that have already been out for decades at this point. They're having to compete with their own investors are shooting themselves in the foot. Like going, we're not making money anymore. Look, the money is down. Income is down. You need to make money. And they put this pressure and pressure and pressure. So the boss's boss is going, we need to make money. Why aren't we making money? They go to the next guy and he goes, well, I don't know. Let me ask the next guy. And you go 15 people down to that one developer and goes, well, the game's not done yet. The game's not done. And so he goes, well, why isn't it done? So it just needs more time. So well, get to it. And then there's the crunch idea. And then eventually, even with crunch, there's just not enough time in a day for games to get made anymore. Because they just need to be making money. If you're not making money, you're losing money. And you can't be losing money on a stock report. You can't have that. Investors don't like that. So the game market has turned into less of a passion for games and turned into more of an idea of we need to be making money constantly. And if you're not constantly making money, you're losing money, and you can't be losing money. You can't lose money. Losing money down, my money gone. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You can't do it anymore. That's not the environment that we're in anymore. So games are just gonna keep getting worse. They will progressively get worse and worse and worse, and eventually people are gonna stop buying new games. Because they have their Fortnite, they have their Overwatch 2, they have the game that they play already. Why would they get a new game if they already have this game? And, people are just gonna stop getting them. What reason is there to get a game if you already have your game? I mean, seriously. We're reaching a tipping point where game companies can't make games anymore. Because they're fighting against the last 15 games that are still making money. EA's got their money makers of, there's all their sports games that come out. They've got all that shit. They're making money. EA makes money hand over fist. They're gonna put out a dog shit game, people are gonna buy it. And there's nothing you could do. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna not buy the next 2K game. You have to buy it. Because no one's gonna play the old one. You gotta buy the next 2K. But like, it's hard to understand it without looking at it in a broader perspective of like, I hate Demon Slayer, but they've really cooked Mickey Zenitsu. This is fucking awesome. Yeah, you're having a fight against the last 6 games that are still available that everyone is playing, because everyone's gonna find their game, and they're only gonna play their game. They're not gonna get the new, like, unique game that comes out that's really good. A new story game is gonna come out, and people just won't get it because it's not Fortnite, and because it's not free. And what's the point in getting it if it's not free? Because what if you don't like it? If you don't like it, you're just gonna go back to playing. You're just gonna go back to playing Overwatch 2. So, it's a stagnation. Essentially, it's a stagnation of video games that is reaching a point where nothing new can come out without it being compared to the last 6 things. Everything is that's a Dark Souls like. That's a Souls like. This game is like, everything's being compared to the last thing that came before it, which is fine if the last thing that came before it isn't still there. If you're talking about Dark Souls 3 and you go, hey, this game's a lot like Dark Souls 3, that's cool and all, but you can't really go, hey, this game's a lot like Fortnite, man. It's like, well then, why play it? Because Fortnite's got a better player base, and also I could play as Master Chief in that. Fucking Master Chief, which is crazy. That one's insane to me. That there's people who will know Master Chief more from Fortnite than from Halo. Because Halo's not coming out with good games anymore. Halo Infinite is a failure. Let's be real. campaign, I haven't even been, I haven't played it because it costs money, and I'm part of the problem as well. Let's be real. I know I'm part of the problem. Where Halo Infinite comes out and it costs money, and I'm not gonna pay the money for that. I was in the damn beta flights for the Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I kind of enjoyed it, but then it just didn't feel good enough, and they didn't have enough content even afterwards. It felt like when the flights were done and the game was actually the game actually came out, and I realized that it was the same fucking thing. That's when I was starting to become completely disillusioned with modern gaming and the idea of like everything coming out is going to be this half-baked mess that is trying to capitalize and just get as much money as physically possible as soon as they possibly can. You know? They need to get all of your money at the first drop of a hat. They need to come out with the battle pass. They need to come out with 15 skins that might be kind of intriguing. They need to come out with like just everything they can to get every cent out of you, because they know you're not staying there. They know you're gonna go and you're just gonna go back and play the same 3 games again. You're not staying. No one's staying. I'm not staying on those games either. I'm part of the problem. I know I am. But it's a larger issue than just like me or you or any specific person. It's the whole idea of video games as a whole becoming just this commodified concept of like you're just gonna play the same 3 games. You're gonna keep buying those, and they're gonna be your forever game. Because why would you switch? And really, I can't even be mad. Because really, there's nothing good coming out. Because no companies have enough time to come out with good things. And when they do come out with something good, no one sees it. And no one plays it. Because no one knows about it. Because they're too busy playing Fortnite. They're too busy playing League of Legends. You know, like unless you're an already known game company or an already known publisher or like director or even like a guy, you're an already known guy like fucking Hideo Kojima. He's just a mainstay in the industry because he's made good things and people remember, hey, he made Metal Gear Solid 3. He made Death Stranding. So people are gonna remember him. So when he comes out with a game, people are like, holy shit, this is gonna be a good game. And he makes good games. But if he wasn't Hideo Kojima, people would never give Death Stranding a chance. Death Stranding a chance. They would never. I mean, you look at the gameplay, it doesn't look fun. Let's be real. I haven't really, I don't know enough about it to really speak on it, I would say, but I do know that it's got a deeper values outside of just the basic gameplay. It is a walking simulator. I know that. But, you know, you're gonna have to contest with, I don't know, I just want to get back to a central point. I've been yapping for a long time already. But, you know, every game is contesting with the last 3 before it. And that's how gaming is going to become for a long time. Or for a short time, to be honest with you. There's a very good chance that the market for video games is just going to disappear eventually. Because no one's getting new games. It's the same thing with like, it's going to be a weird example, but cars. Like Ford came out with their vehicles and they were so good that no one would buy new ones. There was no reason to get a new car. And it's the same idea of, you know, I'm already spent $1,000 on V-Bucks. I can't play a new game. Why would I do that? That'd be wasting my money. You're not gonna waste money on a new game when you still can play Fortnite. Fortnite's still good. They came out with a new season. Look, they added Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. Whoa. Actually, that's Dead by Daylight, isn't it? Hold on, that's fucking Dead by Daylight. My bad. But yeah, you know, games are becoming less of a new interesting concept and becoming more of just the same idea of like commodified. You know, you're not gonna get a new game because you have the old one. I'm sure it's even becoming harder for, you know, kids to say to their parents like, "Hey, I want this new game," and it's like, "Oh, why? You still play Fortnite every day?" It's like, yeah, but what are you gonna say? It's true, and you're probably gonna go back to playing Fortnite even after this one because you're gonna play this one for a while. You're gonna go, okay, I'm done, and you're gonna go back to Fortnite. And people are starting to realize, like, wait, I've spent so much money on video games that I play for a little while. Why not just only play Fortnite? And it's just sad to see the market for video games becoming the same three games that you ever hear about. What the hell? Holy. Neat. Neat. That is interesting. Yeah, it's the same. A lot of video games are turning into the same thing. You're being stuck with the same game, and new games can't come out because they're not going to succeed. They're not going to make money. People aren't going to play them because they're stuck on the same games. That's the problem with casual gaming, at least. Me personally, if a new game comes out that's interesting, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the new game that comes out that I think is interesting to me. Me personally, if I see a new game and I think it's interesting, I'm gonna play it. I'm not stuck in the rat race of Fortnite, and Overwatch, and Dead by Daylight, and Dota 2, and League of Legends, and CS2, and Valorant. I'm not stuck in there because I know that newer experiences are what makes better games. Like a new experience is what's gonna make a good game. The next big game that's gonna come out is gonna be a new experience. It's not gonna be the same game over and over and over again. It's not going to be another hero shooter where they have Marvel dialogue, which is literally Marvel Rivals, which I feel like people aren't realizing yet. They haven't realized that, wait a minute, Marvel Rivals, it's going to have Marvel dialogue. It's going to. I'm sorry, it will. Overwatch is already has that issue, though. Some of it is a bit more clever because they tie lore into it, which I can respect. I used to play Overwatch 1 on Xbox before it even came out. Like, I played the beta of it, and I really liked it. I played hundreds of hours of Overwatch. Overwatch 2, I'm not playing because it's not the same environment anymore. It's now in the environment of trying to get your money. It's not trying to make a piece of art, it's trying to take your money. And I think that's what video games have turned into. They've changed from being a piece of art to being a thing to take your money, you know? And it's sad to see that. Art has solely become commodified. A lot of art, most art has become commodified at this point. Most art is going to be just something that's there for your money. It's not there to send a message or to tell a story. It's there to hook you and then take your wallet, take your money. You know, Fortnite isn't trying to tell it's trying to tell you anything. It's a toy. That's what a lot of video games are. But video games are both toys and also art. And there's a lot of art games. Outer Wilds is a video game and it's art. Elden Ring is a video game, but it's also a piece of art. You could take a screenshot from so many parts of Elden Ring and put that up on a wall, and people will go, "Holy shit, that is art! You made art. That is art." But when you look at the next, hero shooter, you're gonna look at it and you're gonna go, "This is." You're gonna look at it. You're gonna look at the 15 different skins people have that completely clash with the overall map design and look completely garish in comparison. And you're gonna go, this is an art. This is a product that's here to take your money and is here to make a profit. And I understand that's what games need to be because they need to make a profit to come out. But at the same time, games don't need to just be there to make profit. Games don't need a release with the battle pass. They don't need to release with 15 different vanity skins. They don't need to do that. They need to come out in a complete state. They need to come out in a complete state. They need to come out and be something that's there to tell a story, to have a theme, and all that stuff. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my video. I hope to come out with in the future at some point. Maybe with this mic. I hope not, but maybe. That's what I want to talk about, and that's why I want to say that Gurren Lagann is my favorite anime because it's there to tell a story and have themes and be interesting. It's like it's on the line where a lot of media was at that time at least. that was between art and a product. You know, Gurren Lagann is art, and anime is art. Let's be real. That's true. That's just the basis of anime. It is art. It's all art because it's anime. You know, you have to animate it. But at the same time, there's a lot of anime that's not really art. You know, you look at the next isekai to come out, and it's not art. It's just something there that people will buy, basically. It's there to fill a time slot to sell ads on Japanese television, and then it gets thrown into Crunchyroll where you watch that and you're spending money to go watch that. That's what it is. And that's where a lot of media has fallen to, where they're not trying to tell a story, they're not trying to give a theme or convey an idea. They're just there to make you go into the theaters or sit down and watch ads on a TV while watching this, or to just spend money buying skins, frivolous skins for a game that's has no love put into it and no drive put into it outside of a profit quota they need to reach. So of course they put a battle pass in, and it's hard to see the things that I love being bastardized. You know, it really is. It's hard to see that. It's sad to see it. It's kind of scary. And I think there's going to be a video game crash, like a market crash in video games in the future, near future, most likely. I think that there's definitely a precedent for a complete upheaval and changing of all video games, and it's eventually going to be met where a company, one of the big ones, is gonna fail. My guess is Blizzard. Let's be real, it's probably going to be Blizzard unless they somehow do some crazy turnaround. I think Activision Blizzard is gonna fall. Either that, or maybe if Sony can't get their act together, which they will, they have to be able to. They're too big to fail, I would say. But if Activision Blizzard doesn't, I think they're gonna fall. Either that, or maybe Ubisoft, because I can't think of any new games they've come out with, and that's saying something that I can't even think of any new ones. I'm sure they've come out with an Assassin's Creed game, and I'm sure all 6 people who played it liked it, and that's cool and all. That's good. If you like Assassin's Creed, that's awesome, dude. Go for it. But I know, yeah, but shit, that Avatar game was a complete failure. I heard people weren't very interested in Star Wars Outlaws. I'm not too sure about that one though. But they come out with 15 different editions of those games with cosmetics and shit. Yeah, video games are becoming more expensive. That's just because of inflation, though. Let's be real. But you got the $70 is the precedent now for most games, and people don't want to spend $70 to play something they're gonna have no fun in. They're not gonna enjoy. They're just gonna stick with their free game, and people like Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard who don't really do free are gonna fail. And I think when those companies start to fail, I think that would mark the beginning of a video game crash. I don't mean to be a prophet of doom or anything here, but it's gonna happen at some point. I think the writing's on the wall. The precedent's there for these companies to fall apart, and it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be some scary times. You're gonna see a lot more indie devs in the coming years and months and days and weeks coming out with games that people are gonna be playing more than just the next AAA slop. And yeah, that's just what's gonna happen. I don't know where I was going with this video. I was just ranting this whole video, but I hope someone finds something of worth out of this. It is a little bit of a doomer take, but you know what? Indie games are good. Let's be real. This is an indie game. Yomi Hustle is a fucking indie game. I don't think I've played a single AAA game on this channel except Elden Ring is definitely AAA. But Risk of Rain 2, Slay the Spire, they're not AAA. They are indie games through and through. I want to play, and I've seen the meme several times. I think it's like a fucking Sonic or something. It's like I'd rather play a cheaper, smaller game that like took less time to create than to play a game that took 10 years to come out and is humongous and takes 300 hours to beat. And I'd rather play something smaller that's shorter and easier to engage with than a piece of conglomerate media basically that has a mix of multiplayer and single player and takes you 1600 hours to get through all the content. It's like, no, I'm not interested in that. I want to play smaller games made by people who actually care about what they're making, people who love what they're making and are cheaper and easier to produce. If Sony or Microsoft and those companies start coming out with smaller games they would make so much money, but they can't do that because when you make a smaller game, it makes less money than a bigger game. It's crazy, I know. But when you put out a game for cheaper, it's going to make less money. So when an investor goes, hey, fourth quarter, look at this one. Look at this game. What is this? You put this game out for $15. It only made $30 million. What's going on there? It only made 30 million. The last one you put out made 400 million. We need that much money. And they're just not gonna do well. It's just not gonna happen. That's why I think Astro's Playroom or Astro's whatever that new Astro game is an anomaly. That is truly an anomaly to see. I think it was called Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom. Yeah, yeah. Right. Whatever. The new Astro game they came out with on PS5 is kind of crazy. Oh, Astrobot. It's Astrobot. It's $60 and it's a smaller game that took less time to create and people fucking loved it. They loved that game. But then you come out with Concord and it's $200 million to create and fails in 2 days or more than 200. Apparently, with a marketing budget and shit, it came out to like 400 million or something. I don't really know. Commercial failure. They had to close the studio. And people are going to say it's because of woke. No, it's not. It's because they're coming up with a garbage game with awful writing, awful character designs, awful game mechanics, and people don't want to play it. I don't want to play that kind of game. And it's bad because it took them like 4 years to come out with it under crunch, and they could not deliver because they weren't given the amount of time needed. Good games take a long time to make. They take a huge team and crazy dedication to make a game. Baldur's Gate 3, I know, took a long time to make. That was like, I think it took them, I don't remember exactly, but let's see, how long did Baldur's Gate 3 take to make? It was like 6 year development. A 6 year development with 3 years in early access. That is a 9 year long game. That's insane, but also it makes a lot of sense. They were making a game for this amount of time, but they had their other games that were making money passively for them, and they're just living off of that, making a game. But EA, they can't do that. They can't lose money. These game companies cannot lose money anymore because if they lose money, people are getting fired, studios are getting closed, they're going down. So it's become this race of who can come out with the first with the next big thing. They're rolling. They're gambling basically. New games are gambles. They don't know if they're gonna hit, and if they don't, that's a financial loss. And they have to fire people. They have to lay off companies. It's bad. It's really bad. The video game market is in a horrible place. Movies and anime. I mean, anime. I'm not too sure about anime. I'm gonna be real with you. I know it's in a place where it's not healthy. I could say that much. Crunch is bad. There's like companies like Mappa are coming out with the next big anime. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to save that for later. It's becoming an hour-long video at this point. I'm just staring at YOMI Hustle right now. I'm talking a lot. I've been talking a long time. This one's going to go up. This one's not for everyone. This is for the people who are really interested in the conceptual ideas than just the video games I put out. But yeah, I've been talking for a long time. Yeah, if you guys like this, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, say what you liked about the video, say if you have any ideas about what I'm talking about, say if you have any insight. I'd love to have a conversation in the comments because there's a lot that I think I haven't said here. There's a lot that needs to be said. And I'm not the guy to say it. I know I'm not. I don't have a big enough platform. And someone with a big enough platform needs to talk about how games are not becoming games anymore. They're just becoming the next product that you buy. And it's not a healthy place at all. It's not healthy. None of it is. The thing I love is video games, and when I look at it, I see a market that's dying, and it's gasping for breath as it's being strangled and drowned by like three companies. There's like a monopoly. It's basically a monopoly on video games as a concept for the mass market appeal, at least. I mean, it's bad. It's scary to see. It's hard to see, But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. You guys have a good one. Try to not be too doomer about it. And if you watch this video all the way through, then damn, shout out to you. If you watched it all the way through, say nah, never mind. Never mind. I'll see you. Catch you on the next one. Yeah, you guys have a good one. Bye bye.